Hey, good morning to all of you all. Let's see. Yeah, I'm kind of in the shadows here. Um, the sun's just coming up. Let's see what you guys are saying. Good morning, George and Tracy Clark. And Hey Suz, working, so I will have to catch the replay. Well, thanks for stopping by. I always felt like the pink elephant in the room. Good morning, Sister Kate and everyone. What a lovely Friday we're having, says a Lampkeeper. We certainly are, and thank you for being a channel supporter, Lampkeeper. Shalom. Looks drier there. Those storms really put a beating on us. It's finally started to dry up. It is super moist here. So let me see if I can do this. I don't notice these things about my camera, y'all, until I go live. Like, I don't notice. There is definitely a crack across my camera. I don't know if y'all can, if there's like a slash across my face, but that's what it looks like to me here. And I think it's that crack. Let's see if I can. Nope, maybe it's just a crack on my camera. No, it's the lighting. Okay. So I'm gonna get right into the elephant story. And I want to start it off by saying when I was a child, I was in Southeast Asia, and I did go to a place called Timland in Thailand that at the time was like a working elephant park. And so I had a ride on an elephant, an Asian elephant, and the elephants in there were handled, most of their lives. They were tamed and being used to harvest teak in the forest, and they were part of everyday life of the Thai people living there. And then later on, as an adult, I took at least one of my children. I think my youngest daughter thinks it's her, so it might have been her. But anyway, to like a zoological park and for their birthday, and that child had a ride on an elephant. And then coming to the Ozarks, passing along a major highway, I noticed on one of the drives there a very large red building off to the side that had a big field behind it. And the first thing I noticed there was a white horse. And then I noticed there were some Asian elephants out in that field. And I was like so excited. I texted all my friends. I said, wow, I just saw Asian elephants in Missouri. And then I started, poking Pastor going, we could keep elephants. We could do that. We have land. We could do it. And he's always said, and rightfully so, no, we're not going to keep elephants here. It's enough trouble trying to keep these ducks alive. I lost 3 ducks last week. So the struggle on the homestead is real. But I've always been fascinated with elephants, and I've watched documentaries on them, and I know the difference between an Asian and an African, and I read up on sanctuaries and so on. And I think you're right, Dusty. And so Pastor just tells me recently, hey, don't do anything, don't pencil anything in on these days, and be ready to go somewhere. And you'll be outdoors, and but we won't be doing anything super active, because immediately I thought, oh, he's going to take me somewhere and we're going to climb the highest peak in the state, or we're going to, hike into the, the Grand Canyon or something like that. And so the day arrives, and I really don't know what's going on. And so I'm trusting my husband. He had told nobody else, so nobody else I knew what was going on. And so we're in the drive, and he's asking me, well, what do you think we're doing? I said, I think we're going to a Sasquatch museum. And he said, no, that would be totally for me. This trip is about you. And I thought, okay, what am I couldn't, or maybe a tulip farm, I wasn't sure what he thought I would like. Maybe a horseback riding trip, even though really, I think I'm a little too old for that now. And about halfway through the trip, he tells me we're going to an elephant sanctuary. And I was so surprised and so shocked. And I just had to kind of let it sink in. And then I started crying. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is going to be so cool. And then he said, and we're going to stay the night there in a cabin. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just getting better. And I was so happy. And I'm patting his arm and saying, oh my gosh, this is going to be so cool. And then he told me an elephant was going to bring us breakfast in the morning. And I was over the moon over that. So I got really excited. And so we get to the location, and we are given a little briefing, and then we drive back to where the cabins are. And the cabins are a very modern thing, like an Airbnb. It's a little cabin, has a little porch, it's got a what do you call it? Out in front, AstroTurf with a white line on it. And he's like, that's where the elephant's going to stand. That's a safety thing or something. And so we get there and we unpack our stuff. Well, right across the way from us, no more than 10 feet, is a very sturdy looking fence and some trees and a big wallow. And I'm like, no way, no way. The cabins are right on one of the enclosures. So we were told in our briefing, only walk on the gravel. Don't walk anywhere else. You can walk where you want on the gravel. And we had passed by what looked like to be a tent for maybe a wedding with chairs set up and some observation platforms, which was in at least some of the photos that I posted on Instagram and YouTube and my community page about this trip. And so we had eaten in town, and it was a very fine meal. And then we went to our little cabin, and I walked around, and there were elephants in the enclosure. And one of them looked much older. Her skin, they're kind of a gray, it was kind of a lighter color, and you can see along her spine, it was kind of sunken in, which is what happens when people get older and they lose their body fat. And she was just standing there swaying. and swaying. And I like call out to her and she's not responding. And I'm crying. I'm so overwhelmed because I'm an intuitive person. And so I'm like, my feelings are like she's bored or she's restless and maybe she's not happy. She's just swaying back and forth, which is something that people do when they're trying to soothe themselves. And so I got on the phone and I like put on there Mozart for babies because I figured it would be, not a complex music thing. And I was sitting there playing it for her. And I know she could hear me. They have excellent hearing. They have excellent eyesight. And she just stayed there doing that. And I was a little bit upset that I wasn't helping her in some way, right? She didn't really change what she was doing very much. She may have cocked an ear my way. And that made me a little bit sad. So I looked it up and it's like, no, they can do that when they're anticipating something at a certain time also. And so we walked back and there was a thunderstorm that night. And while I'm laying there sleeping, I was thinking about them. Hey, birds. I was thinking about them in the thunderstorm, like, could they feel that? Could they sense that? Were they like, uh-oh, a storm's coming kind of thing? And Google says that they do that when they're understimulated, but also, like I said, when they're in anticipation of something. And so I was like, all right. And then the next morning we get up and we walk around and I do the same thing with another elephant. She's in a different enclosure. I come to find out they were older. They were like our age or just a little bit younger than us. And they may have been anticipating something because they got moved that night. They go inside when there's a storm, so that may have been it. And there were minders sitting around. The elephants, I guess, are watched 24/7. And this particular park is, I thought, very conscientious with these elephants. And so one of them's doing the swaying thing the next morning, and I'm out there and I'm copying her because I feel like she's going to know. Hello, guys. Shalom. Palmetto Paratrooper. It's going to buy an elephant, isn't he? Yeah. There's a deal we have. If we go to Asia again, and if we go and we live there, I want an elephant. Anyway, so I'm swaying and I'm playing music, and the elephant's or this might have been the night before. She's kind of reacting to me a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then she just decided she was finished and she walked away, and I'm like, okay, I overstimulated her or something. And then I played music like the next morning for the other elephant, and she was out there eating with a younger elephant, and they actually came closer to us. So I was like, oh, cool, she is responding. Maybe she does like this. And so I stood there playing the music for them, and they did, all sorts of playing with the grass and eating and moving around and everything. And I thought, oh, that's kind of fun. I had a little moment with them. And then we had a tour later on. It was part of this deal that Pastor had gotten. And also that next morning, an elephant did come and bring us our breakfast in a basket. And the mahout, that's what I call them, even though in America it's probably called a minder or a keeper. You can barely see me. There you go. It came with the elephant and the director of the program, and they stopped at each cabin, and the elephant gave each person a basket, and then you were allowed to like pet the elephant. Like the elephant came up, and you got to feed the elephant off your balcony as well. That was all part of the deal. And so we had bananas. We cut the bananas in half. The manager had Lord Huxville waving this morning. Good morning. The minder or the director had told us, like, cut the bananas in half and it'll take a little bit longer. And so the elephant came right up to the balcony, and then I got to put the banana. Now the elephant's nose is like kind of round shaped and has two holes where it's breathing and stuff is. And I was able to put it right on the end of its trunk, and she grabbed it and then put it in her mouth. And it was so cool. If there's a moderator in here, y'all, there are some people who might need to be moderated. I don't know if there are any in there right now. But anyway, the elephant ate the bananas, and then she walked on because she had a duty later in the day. She was an elephant on the tour. And I think I posted a few photos of that. Moderator, Palmetto, should be. We'll see. 18 of you are back. That's cool. So the tour was really awesome. The Mahout knew so much about elephants, about the trunk, about taking care of them. He showed us how they actually trim their feet, and the elephant, they had solely worked with it to train it to like blow paint onto paper, and they made an elephant print from the footprint. The elephant held its foot up, and they painted its foot, and they put it down on paper. And so it was all really awesome. It was a fascinating, wonderful trip. And I really liked the facility. It's called Endangered Ark Foundation. And it also, I think it's called Awesome Adventures. They have like 2 parts to it. In Oklahoma. It's in Oklahoma. There's also one in Tennessee, but the one in Oklahoma has the most amount of rescued elephants in the U.S. And they've also had live births there, which if you know anything about elephants, like in the wild, I'm sure it's a little bit less strenuous, but maybe not. But they've had 7 live births over the last like 20 years, which is pretty awesome. And then they give or trade their males to other zoos and parks. They only have facilities to keep 2 males. So it was just fantastic. And I can't recommend it enough. If you are one of those people who loves to give to a good cause, I would find out more about the Endangered Ark Foundation and go donate to them. They did such a great job, and it meant a lot to me, a huge amount to me. I'm very serious when I say if for some reason Pastor wants to move to Asia, my deal is I need a mahout and an elephant in our backyard so I can see that elephant every day and take my Shabbat rides. All right, let's see if there's 29 of you in here. Let me see if any questions. Arkhaven, I might be spelling it wrong, but a Christian purpose community. I've never been there, but heard about it. I know about Arkhaven. Oh, thank you. I have friends looking for a safe place to settle. Canada is the best choice right now. They should do a little research, Susan. Arkhaven is the place Pastor talked about. They have land for sale, but they should do a United Country Realty real estate search for land in America. And I mean, we're a big country, so they kind of need to decide where they want. We like the Ozarks for its, there's abundant land, but there's abundant land in the whole middle of our country. So, yeah, okay. Excuse me. All right, so any questions? I'm so glad you had fun. Well, thanks. Yeah, it was a wonderful trip. I mean, I would recommend it to anybody. The tour was amazing. It really was. And you got to feed the elephants again on that tour, a different one, not the same one that I fed in the morning. They had a different one, and you're that close to it. And the elephants, because they were rescued from like zoos and parks and things, they are pretty human friendly. Man, if I lived close enough, I would be volunteering there every day. So, let's see. Palmetto, do you have a wrench now? You should. Okay, one other thing I wanted to recommend to people or to talk about was a movie I watched on Netflix called Only. And it was a post-apocalyptic movie, right? I like watching them anyway. Do you guys like watching them? Property is available in Midlands of South Carolina. Affordable, beautiful, and full of like-minded people. Yeah. There's Lampkeeper. Well, darn, I missed everything because my husband called. You'll just have to watch the replay, Lampkeeper. Anyway, this movie is called Only, and it's got Frida Pinto in it. She's a really good actress. She's really pretty. And I'm pretty sure a man called Leslie Odom, he's an actor too. Post-apocalyptic, and the theory is there's like some sort of ash fall, and it starts killing only females, right? Which is one of the scenarios for a post-apocalyptic movie. The thing about it was the director really captured the feeling of the woman who's his main character, because it's been a couple of years and now there are very few females left alive. And so the premise was the government is actually hunting down women because they want to forcibly do experiments on them to try to figure out how to save the female population. And so they're not even pretending to like give you any rights or anything. They're forcibly breaking into people's homes and just kidnapping women and taking them into facilities. And so her husband has got her in hiding, but he's also had to decontaminate where they live completely, which if you know anything at all about, illnesses and quarantining, it's so much work. And they did a pretty good job of, hey, hang on. I don't want the foxes to get my ducks. Are we good, guys? I guess we're good. No one's alarming. Sorry. Are you sure? It's just we're only looking for it now and I don't see it. Yes, it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure. No, it's probably on Prime. I'm sorry. No, you're right. I think it's on Amazon Prime. My bad, Lampkeeper. And so, like, they did a good representation of the apartment. Plastic everywhere, duct tape everywhere. The guy would come into the thing. He'd go outside in a protective suit. He'd come into a little alcove in the front that he set up with the plastic and a like an off-grid shower thing. And they would show him like showering himself off and spraying himself and everything, and then coming through several layers of plastic into where she was. And they captured excellently how isolated she was feeling just in that apartment. Showed her looking out the windows. Oh, hang on. All right, let's go see if there's something I need to look at over there. I didn't think there was anything going on, but you never know. The ducks know. They got really good eyesight and hearing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, the woman's sense of isolation was just really, the word for this movie for me is poignant. How she missed female company, how she was getting really scared. They would hear noises, and she had a little bit of online contact. He had gone through the effort of like having a separate computer and setting up different VPNs on there so she could try to contact like online ladies and also her family. And then near the end of the movie, I mean, here's a, what do they call it when you, a spoiler alert, uh, they're in contact with the parents, but they don't say anything, and they get bad news from the parents. And then on her online chat, she eventually finds out she's the only one left. Um, and just like the bleakness and the hopelessness. And now she's the only woman left. And so that means every other man is out there trying to find her. There's a $2 million reward if they find her, because the government wants her to find out how long, why she's lasted so long and everything. And I won't go into the ending, but like, it really struck me how well they captured that feeling of you're all alone. You know, you're whether it were a man or a woman, like it would be overwhelming. So I watched that movie and I thought it was fantastic. Um, in spite of things in the plot I wouldn't have agreed with and everything. It's the director's point of view he's trying to get across, and I think they captured it really well. I thought the claps were gunshots for a moment. Well, most wild animals, if they're in the area at all, don't like those noises either, because it's not something they normally hear. Okay, so let's see. I was adopted to Japan from the Ozarks when I was 15, thinking Philippines, Thailand, or try getting in Bhutan, right? Thailand, the thing, hey, Bama Buckeye, shalom. Um, okay. With no moderators in here, I am going to have to do some of this myself. Let's see. Let's see if I can make Lampkeeper a moderator. All right, awesome. Lampkeeper, I just gave you the magic blue wrench, but I don't know if it's going to take this time or if it's going to have to wait till the next live stream. You guys have any other comments? If not, I'm going to get on to my day. I've got a lot of chores to do today. It's also prep day, so I need to get food ready for Shabbat tomorrow and this evening's dinner. Any other questions about the elephant situation or anything like that? I guess Palmetto maybe is not in here anymore. And Lampkeeper, can you make a comment? I think I'm having problems with the service too. Any of my regular followers out there, Dusty or Terra Firma, Jacqueline, any of you guys still there? Service seems to be going in and out a bit. Okay, thank you, Dusty. All right, so I'm going to, that's the end of the live stream. If you didn't catch the beginning to find out all about the elephant story, just watch it when it turns into a video. I appreciate you all signing in or showing up, commenting. Krew, all you guys, if you have any questions or anything like that, you can make comments in the community section of the homepage. There you go. Good job, Terra Firma. All right. So I'm going to say shalom now. Bless y'all. Until next time. Yay! Good job. Good job, Terra Firma. Okay. Come on. You got to press the magic button, and I have to use my thumb. There we go. Okay.